What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi, Sheets. We're going to be talking about the Truist Championship from a DFS perspective. We have an elevated event. We have a stronger field, and we're getting ready for our second major of the year. So a lot going on, and ready to get back after it. If we had last week was not a good week for golf for me, which is fine. Scotty Scheffler, obviously, we talked about it before. It seemed like it was. I mean, what was he? I think he was like plus 150 to win the tournament with 160 golfers, which is, I don't know if that's ever happened before. That was wild. And he won by a landslide. And I had a lot of nice 5 of 6s. I actually made money on FanDuel, but did not get there on DraftKings. It actually got crushed. So Sheets, how did you do last week? And any overall thoughts before we jump into the slate this week?
Yeah, I won 2 different 10Ks and showdowns, which was good.
Right.
But classic slate, I full faded Scotty Scheffler because I'm a moron. All right, so let's get into this week. Now again, as you mentioned, it's a no cut event, and I believe it's no cut, right? Yeah. So it's a no cut event, which means that you get 4 rounds of everybody, which means that typically stars and scrubs formats lineups work because you don't have to worry about the bottom guys missing the cut. So you can get to all your Rorys if you wanted to do that, and that's why usually stars and scrubs builds kind of work. The theme of this, and we'll get into it as we go through it, is I'm really kind of going head to head with somebody who I really respect in the industry, and we'll get to it just when we get to it.
Okay.
So you want to start?
Yeah, it's easy. Okay, so for me, the 10K range, my favorite is Xander. And followed by Morikawa. I don't like. I look. Rory is obviously the most obvious best play here. He's going to be 1,000,000% owned, and also he's in a price tier of his own. I'm not sure, and he's been the best golfer in the world without a doubt. But I'm not sure that Xander wouldn't be right there if he hadn't played more events. Course fit wise, it does feel like it's not like you have to be long, but they have these long bunkers, so Rory will hit it right over them, no problem. Morikawa might be the one guy in this range who might not be able to do that as easily. I don't think it'll matter that much for him. So I've got it Xander, then Maury, then Thomas probably for ownership. But I'm going to end up with some Rory anyway. It's just going to be less than the field. What about you for this range?
Yeah, so right out of the gate, I am in pretty well direct contrast with the guy I respect a lot, and that would be Rick Rungood. Again, I've talked about him for nonstop, and he's like my favorite golf guy. I've had him around and stuff, and he and I just ran my projections and I ran my builds, and I'll just tell you what he said because it's free. I can tell you, he made like the most incredible case for why Colin Morikawa should be faded this week, simply because of his distance and what he drives off the tee is very just geared towards finding these bunkers on this course, just because of exactly his distance. That's the way these bunkers are literally designed for, almost specifically for his distance. And so I, on the other hand, have my highest exposure to Colin Morikawa. That's just where I'm getting. And the other piece is that he also, and you should be happy with this, he also thought that Xander was particularly, underappreciated, underprotected, whatever. And he's going to be one of my lower owned of this group also. I am going to have the majority. Morikawa and then actually Justin Thomas next. Relative to the field, I do have actually Justin Thomas the same as Morikawa, which means that I'm definitely under on Morikawa. And not Morikawa, and McIlroy. I apologize. I have Thomas and McIlroy the same, which means I'm under on McIlroy. So I'm just getting about full 40% of Morikawa, and that's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, I have no issue with it. Again, I feel like that range is all very strong. But I happen to like this next range quite a bit, and I'm curious. So why don't you start us off with what you've got in the 9Ks, and then I'll
So as I mentioned, these builds usually don't lend themselves to playing 9Ks. When you have these no cut events. So if you do like stuff in the 9K, you're gonna really be in business. You know what I mean? To get leverage on everybody. Like for example, I'm like my highest owned guy from the whole range right now is Russell Henley. He's only 17%.
Mm-hmm.
And then my next highest is Fleetwood, and he's only 14. And then my next highest is Spieth, and he's only 13. So if you can get away with it, like if you like these guys, and get overweight on them, listen, there's some really good names in here. You know, like a Hovland and even Cantlay and Aberg. You kidding me? I mean, these are great golfers. So if you can get away with playing them, I think they're going to be much lower owned for their chances than normal, just because of the way the lineup construction is going to work.
Yeah, well said. I'm heaviest on Fleetwood from this range, but I really like these other guys. I really like Oberg. He might be my. We'll get to it later, but I guess I'm considering him as my pick to win. Cantlay plays great in these types of courses. This is like his perfect dream setup. I was a little off put by the ownership, but now I think I might just say F it and just go heavy on it anyway, because I'm not as excited about the other range except for Xander. I'm okay with taking some shots at fading those things. Now, I think that Jordan Spieth is the most interesting. Well, Spieth and Hovland are the two most interesting players in this range. Spieth is going to be like, he's been incredible at things that historically he's struggled. Well, historically, last few years that he's been struggling with. He's been really good off the tee lately. He's been playing like way, way better, I feel like, than people realize. So I'm a little bit interested there. And then also I'm just interested in Hovland at low ownership, because I think his upside is so massive. So this is a range that I'll probably I'll have exposure to everyone. Actually, Henley right now is my lowest owned in this range, but it's not like because I don't like him. It's just I happen to like all the guys surrounding him more. I think I'm going to end up underweight as a whole on the 10K range, overweight on the 9K range as a whole. All right, now we're down in the 8K sheets. What do you got here as far as interest levels?
My second highest owned golfer is Corey Connors at 27%. So I do like that. The second highest, and that's in my whole field. Obviously, he's the top highest owned in my 8Ks. And then the next highest I have in the 8Ks are nothing more than 15, but they're all about 15, like Lowry, Berger, and Straka. So I guess with the field on that, I guess that, or is any of those going to be particularly higher than that? I'm not sure, but I do have Corey Connors as the highest of them all.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be. I like Connors. I think you're supposed to play Berger here.
Sure.
That's my take, and I think I'm going to do it. So that's pretty much. He's my favorite one from this range. I feel a little wish-washy on a lot of the other ones. The only thing I'd mention is that Sepp Straka hasn't played as poor. Like he obviously played great to start the season, and then I feel like there's a way he could have ended up like 30% owned on this exact tournament, and he's not going to be. So it's a spot where you could maybe take a shot. I didn't take that shot yet, but I'm considering it. Also, I think Sungjae's playing a little better than people think, and I wouldn't mind being a little bit overweight on him. I always like being overweight on Minwoo. But overall, not as excited about this range as some of the I like the 9 and the 7K range better than I do the 10 and the 8, I guess, is where I'm at.
You know, I'll tell you, I think I'm getting to this Connors thing because of the ownership. Like I have them projected at only, I think, like 12% owned.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I'm getting like double on that.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
It makes sense. He hits it long and straight. Like it's a course that suits him. I mean, it's not even that long. It's like you don't have to be super long, and it's a course where he should be solid. So I totally get it. That's how I feel about everybody in that. I mean, he, Berger, Straka. I mean, Hideki is another one too. Like I actually like Hideki a little better than Connors, but I think people are just nervous to play Hideki, so he always ends up a little bit lower owned than he should be.
You want to break the 7Ks into two spots again, or
7,500 to 79?
Yeah. So I guess I'll start. And that for me, I think this is not a dead range, but I have higher interest in the lower guys than in the higher guys. Like I have Davis Thompson at 14%, and aside from that, I don't have over 10% of anybody in that range.
Yeah, I'm not. I said I like the 7K range, but I don't have all that much. I do think that Novak is my favorite in the 75 to 79. I know Burns has not been like he played great on Sunday last week.
Yes, he did. He was one of my heroes.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, in the showdown. Burns, Clark, these are feel very similar to me, but for me, the Novak is the only one I'm going out of my way to try and really up. I also like Brian Harmon a lot. He's the other one that this course should be fine for him. Now, it's not a long course. It's just a specific courses with the bunkers, but like he can play his long irons well. So I guess that Harmon and Novak are my two takes from this range that make the most sense to me, but not getting crazy with anything else yet. By the way, Sheets, I'm going to keep playing. You know what I've been doing on FanDuel before we go to this range? I just take what we say for our picks of the week. And that's what I just changed those on FanDuel. And I run Goldies or combination of Goldies and FanDuel's projections. And I win every week on FanDuel now. Since
That's
every
great.
week it's been working. So I'm going to stick with it. Anyway, 7K to 7,400.
Yeah. Okay. So 7K to 7,400. I'm getting a good amount, 20% of Michael Kim at 7K flat. And then 17% right now of Taylor Pendrith, and then above 15 on Ben Griffin. So those are my three favorites from that range. Boy, Tony Finau looks really low at 7,400. I'm kind of like market weight on him, maybe even a little lower. But that looks like a really cheap price for a short field. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just he's hasn't been good.
Okay.
I like Ben Yan. Other than that, I basically completely agree with you. I think that Michael Kim is my favorite, and I like Ben Yan. I also think Hogard has got some upside here. I think I might want to get just a little bit over the field because he's going to be low owned. And I'm with you on the Pendrith idea, but he's going to be owned. So I don't know how am I underweight everybody in this freaking field. It seems like I am, but mostly for me, it's going to end up being Kim. Forget my current exposures, but it's probably going to end up being Kim and Ben Yan as my two favorites here. With Ben Griffin probably coming up next for me. Actually, JT Poston I have is very close to Ben Griffin this week, so both those guys are firmly in play. I'm sort of surprised. I thought you were going to say Akshay because that's sort of you always do.
I wish I did. I mean, I like playing him.
I know I didn't come across it much either, but I was sort of confused at why I didn't. And this is a funny week because of the nature of this tournament. It's loaded at under 7. These under 7Ks are like legit guys who are going to be in there, you know? So I'm curious to see. There's not a guy under 7K I don't think I'm playing this week, at least some of, because I'm playing 354 contests. So I don't know. There's a lot here, though. So what do you like here in the?
Yeah, so I'm a little different than that. So with me, instead of having like spread out a whole bunch of 6Ks, I only have one guy under 7K that I have more than 10% of, and I got like 25% of it. Okay.
Lucas Glover?
No, that would be Jacob Bridgman.
Okay, I like Bridgman too. He's the other one. I got him over 10% also.
And then I actually sort of lied. I shouldn't lie. Lucas Glover, I have like 9% of him, so I didn't lie. I don't have more than 10. So, but he is my second highest owned guy. Him tied with Ryan Gerard, which is just kind of sick. I literally only have like 3 guys under 7K for more than like a lineup or two. I'm just planting my flag on this Jacob Bridgman character, I guess. I mean, he was really good for the Bucks back in the 80s, but I didn't know that Jacob Bridgman and Junior Bridgman were the same person until like a while ago. So so that's my thing. That 25% Jacob Bridgman, and just see what happens.
I like the Bridgman as well. Lucas Glover is going to be one of my highest owned golfers by the time I'm done with my goal. I love Lucas Glover. If there was a course that's made for him, as Rick was saying, this is probably it. I think the Gala is at the point where we have to just take shots. His upper tier is better than most of these guys, and I think that you could throw Fitzpatrick into the mix with that as well. So I actually think, and Fitzpatrick has been a little bit better after being kind of sluggish, and maybe the no cut will benefit him because he struggled at certain times, just literally missing the cut on the number a few times. I like Ryan Gerard, and I was confused that no one else did, so I was kind of just being careful. You look at the difference between Saberson's projections and Goldie's projections. I think I lean more towards Goldie's. So I like the idea of getting a little bit over on him. Now, like I said, I'm having exposure to a lot of different guys, but I'm not. The main ones are going to be Glover and Bridgman. The other ones, Dietrich, I just think on talent alone, this is a play where you want to be over the field if you're playing a bunch of lineups. Alex Noren is probably, he hasn't played much, really, would never in any tournament be 6,200. And I just am going to count on for an elevated event that he's going to be ready. Maybe I go and make even a bigger stand on him than I currently do. So at 6,200, really like Alex Noren. And then, as we mentioned, and I think again, I didn't do it in my first builds. You know who plays like the best in no cut events?
That SW Kim or which guy?
Cam Davis.
Oh my God, he's
Cam Davis, because you don't have to worry about him. He's hitting it all over the place and everything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
they're gonna play all the days because they want to get their money.
Yeah.
You know? So that's the other one. And then one other little nod to being over the field would be Joe Highsmith. But yeah, I think there's a lot to do down here. And by the way, Eric Van Rooyen, I'm not going to let this keep happening to me. I don't know how many times I feel like it's always Van Rooyen. Like he's always like 1% owned at like 6K, and like then he ends up making a run at it like last week, and no one plays him. So I'm not going to let that happen again. So this is sort of my take. All right, let's go tier by tier real quick because I know you got to go soon.
No, it's fine. We got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So here's the question. Here's a little contest. Who is going to win the tournament?
I'm going to take Xander. Oh, no, sorry. I'm going to take Oberg.
Oberg.
I've taken Oberg like every time this year, so I almost wanted to take Xander, but I'll take Oberg.
I am going to take Colin Morikawa.
Good. I'm happy you did that because I do like Morikawa, even though I didn't agree with all of the anti stuff.
Who under 10K besides Oberg for you is going to make top 5?
There's 2 of them for me, but I'll take Fleetwood just because it's more on brand. But Cantlay was the other one I was going to say.
Yeah, so I'll step up to the plate and I'll go with Connors from the tier below.
Okay.
To get top 5.
All right.
So how about under 9K to make top 10?
Daniel Berger for me.
Okay. I am going to go with. Oof. I don't want to step up on this one. I like the Berger one. I'll go with Shane Lowry.
Lowry, okay. Oh, I like the late Lowry call. I'm happy to have an excuse to get more exposure.
Under 8K to make top 20.
Under 8K to make top 20. I had somebody. Oh, Michael Kim for me.
I like that. That was going to be my selection. So, boy, like none of these guys I really have too much of. I'll go, I guess, Taylor Pendrith.
Okay.
And who's going to be the best performer under 7K?
The best performer under 7K for me is going to be Lucas Glover.
And the best for me is going to be Junior Bridgman. and who over 9K is just going to just shit the bed? That's going to
just be the worst.
Miss the cut, but like who is?
Yeah, they can't miss the cut. So I guess
who's going to finish in the bottom of the field? You know, who's going to be the worst performing over 9K?
God, it's a guy I even like this week a little bit, but I guess if you're going to play for variance, you got to say Victor Hovland, or I would say Hovland. It's either one or 2 guys. Like, I guess you got to say Hovland.
Yeah, I'll go with I guess I'll go with Cantlay, I suppose.
You're gonna go with Cantlay, okay?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see. But it should be fun. I hope you're wrong about the Cantlay thing because that would be heavily exposed.
Yep.
And all right, man. Good luck, and hopefully, I don't think I'm gonna see you later. But if I happen to, great. I'll be live at 5:30.
Yeah. What time are you going? At 5:30?
5:30. For MLB and a little NBA.
Okay. I might pop in. Are you? How long are you usually going to stay? Just a half hour? Or are you going to go an hour?
I'll probably go for like 45 minutes or so. Depends on if you're there or not.
I'll keep that in mind. In other words, if it's 5:30, I mean, if it's 6 o'clock, and I can scoot over there, if you'll still be there for a few minutes, maybe I will. It just depends on my schedule.
Okay, sounds good, man.
All right, I will talk to you later.
All right, talk to you later. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you guys soon.